So guys, it's time to remove the swing. I have had some problems with the linkage. So when the wheel was in, if I grabbed the wheel when it was on the paddock stand and pulled it up, I could feel a slight gap. It was clicking, and that meant that I had to replace all the needle bearings inside the linkage, which is inside here. So I've already done that a couple of months ago, and that problem disappeared. But today we're going to remove the swing arm. If you're racing your bike and you are doing track days in rain, it's recommended that you do that not every season, but every other season. Remove the axle here and then check the needle bearings in here and make sure that everything's tight and nice. I haven't done this before, so let's try this together. What it looks like a nut here, and then there is a safety screw there, and then you have number 46 nut over here, and then there's a small hex tool a big hex tool actually, that you need to use. What I'm guessing is that this is the axle. When you remove everything, you have to unscrew this out to get the axle out. So before we do that, we need to do a couple of things. First of all, if you're removing the swing, you don't have any point for the swing to hang, so you need to replace the paddock stand with something else. And there are a couple of options. What I'm using is this. It's a foot peg stand, which you put in there. So there's a stop to this, so the bike will rest on the foot pegs, and that will make it possible to remove the swing. If you don't own one of these, you could actually use a car jack, which has the same functionality. So you just raise these and put them underneath, and then you can drop the swing. So I'm not going to use the car jack. I'm going to go with the foot stands. That will make this easier. So one on each side, and there are different variation of these. So the beauty with this is that I could actually remove the rear stand. The swing will drop until the rear shock will hold it up. So the swing is loose now, and I can move it and feel that there's no gap in it. Doesn't feel like it. So the bike is steady on the foot peg stand and the front stand, so we can get started. So before starting, I have a bike with a DDC head. I changed it, but the potentiometer in the rear is still there. So this is attached from the tray to the swing, as you can see. So we need to remove this. There is a connection there. Press to the sides, yank it out. And what I'm thinking is you have to remove these two screws. This will come out. And then the linkage, as you can see, is attached to the swing. So we need to unscrew that, which looks like TX55 or even 60. I'll check it and get back to you. And at the bottom of this, of course, the rear shock is attached to the swing as well. So we need to remove this screw. We need to remove this screw over here. Then the swing will come loose. I'm actually going to remove the shock, the entire shock, and leave the linkage in. So I'm going to remove the shock by removing that one on top and the bottom one. So, but we start with this. So guys, the screws are out, and there's a spacer that was attached from the behind like this, and then this part, so it's gone now, and this part is attached this way and screwed in, so there should be a spacer in between. So that little guy is out of the way. So next I'm going to remove the shock, and it's a TX55, and that's the one on top. Of course I've got TTX Orleans, so yours may differ from this, but there should be the same bolt and the same size. You may have, if you have the DTC, you may have electrical cord. I've done a video on how to remove the original, so please check that out. So the top bolt is off, and as you can see, the shock is loose here. And so is the swing. So that's why we have the foot peg stands, otherwise the whole bike would collapse. So next is to remove the lower bolt, and then remove the shock entirely. I'll do that and get back to you. So the shock is off. These are the bolts. They are exactly the same, so don't be afraid of mixing them. So guys, TTX shock absorber is out. There's a big hole there, and next to detach the swing from the linkage, I need to get access to that bolt, but as you can see, the access is blocked by this protective plastic piece. So I need to unscrew that screw, which looks like TX27, and then it's slide it in here. So you press the rear fender back, and this will pop out. And then if you want to remove it, you have to remove this little plastic piece, which is pain in the ass. So I'm not going to remove that. I'm just going to tilt the whole thing up so I can get access. So I start by unscrewing that and get back to you. So that's the screw. It's out. Let's see if we can detach this guy here. As you can see, on the inside with dirt, there is, I don't know how to show you this, but there's a lip here. So you press that lip in, remove the fender, the whole thing will come out, and this is what a lip looks like, and that's the slide that it will go in. We just move it out of the way. We can grant access to this guy, which is TX55 as well. So I will unscrew this and get back to you. So this little guy is out, which means that the linkage should be loose, which is not. It's pretty tight fit. So I bought from Alpha Racing some shims, because originally they are moving a bit too much for my liking, side to side. So that's probably why this guy is not moving that well. So I'll try to solve this problem and get back to you. So guys, these are the shims that you can buy from Alpha Racing. They will go on each side of the little thing here. And there's one on this side, and then there's another one that just dropped down. There it is. And it will prevent the linkage from moving side to side and damaging the needle bearing inside. So just put the bolt back in with the shims so I don't forget them. So the linkage is loose, and as you can see, it's only attached to the frame and then back to where the shock used to be. So from the top, maybe you can see the top of the linkage, which you can see here. That's where the top of the linkage is. So it's attached to the frame through this guy. So we don't need to move that. But if you're taking down your linkage completely, then you will have to remove this guy. So on this side, there's a stop screw here, TX30, that you need to remove to be able to slide this out. So I'll open that. So this is the screw. It was in there. It wasn't really hard to loosen it. Maybe 10 Newton meters. So we put this aside, and then on this side I already loosened with a big gun. It's a 46. This one was pretty loose as well, maybe 10-12 Newton meters. So we'll take this guy all the way out, and hopefully put that on the side. Hopefully we can unscrew this. There's a lock nut, looks like it. So it's 27. Maybe it's even smaller because there's a gap when I'm using 27, but 27 is all that I have. So I try to open this and get back to you. So guys, this is a big hassle. Since I haven't done this before, it's the first time, I had to figure it out. So there's a screw there. And behind this plate, there are holes. As you can see right now, it's not going anywhere. So these holes will move, and that will put you in different pivot points. So you have to remove this screw on the right hand side of the bike, and then use your 22 hex or a tool like this on one side, and then you get your wrench with a 27 socket on the other side, and then rotate this. This goes to the front of the bike and the other one to the back. It looks like I'm getting the bolt out without that side moving. So I'll try to unscrew this and get back to you. So one more thing that I almost forgot is your rear brake. You don't want that to hang. So remove the caliper to the side, separate it from the swing so you don't break any cables. Remove this from underneath here. I need both my hands. That's by prying and taking it out. You could remove the rear fender by removing these plastic screws that I hate because they will break as soon as you look at them. So I will remove this and hang it to the side and then get back to you. So this is what it looks like. They will fold underneath themselves and in behind the rear swing. So I just took a screwdriver, flathead, and pull them out. And I'm gonna leave them like that because I need to put the brake line back in later. So there's another problem which will make you not be able to remove the swing completely, which is the chain. It's going through the swing. So we need to remove the front sprocket and then pull the chain off eventually. And or you could just cut the chain if you're gonna use another chain. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I haven't figured that out, but let's remove this bolt entirely and let the swing arm down. So this is the lock nut that was attached there or screwed there. So I'm now guessing that either it's a question of tapping or unscrewing this guy from the other side where we at. The whole thing is twisting. The whole thing is moving. It's not going anywhere. So I'm guessing there's some tapping involved. I'll try that and get back to you. So I need to put back this stopping screw here to get the axle from the inside out. Otherwise the whole thing will just spin around and nothing is coming out. So on this side, put this stop screw back, remove the bolt here. That's 46. On the other side of this thing, nothing is in. As you can see, everything is removed. So what you need to do is just keep unscrewing this axle, and I will need to grab the swing with my both hands. So I'll remove the axle and get back to you. So the axle is out. As you can see, it's dirty, so I can just pull it and then the whole swing will come off. So the swing is off. It's just a chain that's holding it. So I haven't decided if I cut the chain or remove the front sprocket. So this is the distance, the nut and the washer that goes on the left hand side. So this is how they are arranged: the distance, the washer, and then the nut. And you have the stopping screw in there from this side. So I will remove these and put them aside. And you can see your pivot points and how this thing works. So this is the stopping screw that I put in to prevent this guy from turning around. So, and this is the distance. By twisting it, you will get different pivot points for the swing. Let's remove this and I will clean them and put it back in. So guys, this is the pivot point for the swing, and the whole reason to remove the swing for me is to check what's inside there. You can see the needle bearings. So I would like to make sure that they're okay, and they look pretty okay. Gonna put some grease in them and clean them up a little bit. And there are two of these on both sides. There's a distance that I will clean out and put back in. And hopefully they're good to go for a couple of seasons. So guys, I decided to let the chain be intact. So I will remove the front sprocket, and to get access to that, you will need to remove your quick shifter. I have a special arrangement here since I removed the side stand, I have another bracket down here. So I had to extend this a little bit. The main thing up here is that you have 90 degrees of angle, so you don't miss any gears. If that angle is not 90 degrees between here, you will have some difficulties hitting the gears. And to remove the quick shifter, you will need the 10 socket to open this guy out, and you have to open it pretty far out, and then you pull all the lever here out, so it will be out of your way. So I'll do that and get back to you. So you have to remove this guy all the way out, so it's completely out, and then you'll be able to remove the quick shifter and get it out of the way, so you can get access to the front sprocket. So what you need to do next is to take a flathead screwdriver and hammer these locking sides down, so this washer will become flat, so you can unscrew the nut, which seems to be 34. I said 32 earlier. So I'll get a hammer and a flat screwdriver and then start to make these parts be as flat as possible so the nut will move. So as you can see, I managed to chisel this washer flat, just enough to be able to make the nut turn. So next is, I think it was a 34. I'm not sure. I'll check it and get back to you. So guys, lesson learned. I would like to take the sprocket off, but since there's no back wheel or swing, I cannot undo this. You need to step on the rear brake to prevent the sprocket to twist. So we're going to plan B, and we're trying to remove this cover, these screws, to see if we can get access to hook the chain off from the front sprocket, so we can get the swing completely detached. So there are 3 screws, pretty long ones. There's another one here, I think. I will remove this and get back to you. So this protection part is hooked there. So if you move that, the whole thing will come loose, and hopefully we can get it out and clean it. I will need both my hands for this. I'll remove it and get back to you. So this piece is out, which will make it easier to get the chain off. So the chain is off, and that will complete the removal of the swing. It's completely off now, and I can start cleaning it and take care of the rest of the bike. So that's the swing off for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please do subscribe and comment. Next up is probably dropping the engine.